G'day, welcome back. I'd especially like to welcome my new subscribers, and I hope you enjoy the content on my channel. If you missed part 1 of the Z-axis upgrade on the mill, there's a link up there now. You can go and watch that first, then come back and watch this one. Alright, so as I've been prone to say lately, let's not dilly-dally around with this. Let's head over to the lathe and get on with it. Over there. Alrighty, so I got down to my local little bolt and engineering supply place to chase some tube and some fittings for this oil lines, and the smallest head was 4mm, and unfortunately it's 4mm by M5, and this thread in here I'm pretty sure is M6. So I'm going to have to make a little adapter for that. The other end won't matter because I've got to make something up anyway, and I'll just make that M5. So let's do it. Clean it up. What have we got here? 12.6. We've got to take 6.6mm off that. We'll leave that tip getting a bit blunt. Check that before I go much further. Alrighty, now before I knock this drill chuck off here, we'll drill that, centre it and drill it, and drill it 1.5mm. So because I couldn't get the size tube that I want to put a fairly small hole in there so it can't flow too much oil. Can I grip a 1.5mm drill? No, I can't. But as luck would have it, I made this up over Christmas for drilling small holes in the mill, and I couldn't be bothered taking the collet chuck out. So I just put that in there and hold small drills with it. Stopping it because I don't want to catch the end of this drill on the end there. Alrighty, that ought to be deep enough. I just hope that hole is big enough to actually allow the oil to flow through it. But I don't want it to flow through it, I just want it to whip through it really. Alrighty, almost no tip. Beautiful. I think I'm going to go any deeper, and I don't think I've found that 1.5mm drill yet either. But anyway, that's life. Alright, I think that'll do that. Might have to re-drill that 1.5mm hole back down through here. Alrighty, so that's worked out just perfect, except for one thing. Oh, it popped the drill right through the back. It doesn't matter, I'll just drop a bit of solder in that and it'll solve that problem. But that's that part of it done. Alrighty, so the next cab off the rank should have been to machine up the piece to put this on. I want to make up a bracket to mount this up on, and drill a hole, put O-ring cup in it so that I can seal this with an O-ring. But I don't have a suitable piece of material, so I'm going to have to cast a piece up to do that. But I won't bother video all of that. I might video the machining of it. So we'll get on with this. In the last video I didn't get around to drilling and tapping these. Now I've marked one and drilled and tapped it so that I can lock it up. We'll get on and mark the rest with my Alrighty, so that ought to do it, I think. Strange size hole. These holes are about 5.5mm. It's pretty big, oversized 5mm. Just fits beautifully on there, it's just perfect. I'm always worried about turning touches. Anyway, so I'll go and drill those, and I'll see you back here. Alrighty, so I've got all those drilled. It's tempting to get out the cordless drill and just run these down in there with the cordless drill. I don't want to strip the damn things out. Not very deep, won't take long. Oh, I've joked for years here that winter only lasts for about a week, around the end of the year sometime. And we did have quite a cold week or so. But winter's been and gone, and I'm back to sweating profusely. In fact, it's dripping on my glasses right now. Well, if you watched the first part, I was talking about maybe having to cut those two braces out of the back of the tower, and even if this thing would clear it, I'm going to have to cut them out anyway, because this won't. Alrighty, so as far as this thing goes, other than cutting this off to the right length, well, machining it off once I get it all fitted up, this is pretty much done, except for, I don't know where you can see that or not. You can see I said I machined a bit extra off here because I'm worried that this will rub, this part of it will rub in the back of the tower. And if that's the case, I'm not going to be able to mill it, because I have nothing to mill it with. I think it'll be way too hard to try and set it up in the lathe. I might just have to wrap everything in some cling wrap and just grind the bloody thing off. But anyway, shit happens. So until the plaster's properly dry on this and I can get in and cast it up, and I already realise I've stuffed this up. They should have had a flat area there, but doesn't matter, I'll just mill it off. So the plan is to mill the sides off, drill a hole so I can sit that down into it, and I'll drill and tap a hole on the side for another one of these little quick fit fittings, and then we'll just drill a hole through here and bolt it on. And then I'll mount that onto the aluminium sheets that are sitting in behind the mill. Well, that went a whole lot better than the last casting, didn't it? It's quite. I sanded this a bit before I plastered it. It's gone pretty well. And what I did this time was I just used one of these, this canned fish can, cut the top off it so it had no lip there. And I actually melted exactly the right amount to fill the damn thing, so it was perfect. And it's really easy, it's so thin, it's really easy just to peel it off, put a nick in it, peel it off with a pair of multi-grips. So now I'll just cut that off across there and there, and I've got a nice slug to use later. It's getting late in the day, so I'll get all this done tomorrow. Alrighty, now we've machined every side except for that one, and that will go to the back so you can't really see it, and I want to do something in the little step in there so it'll sit hook over the top of that aluminium sheet. Now it's time to drill a hole in here. This thing fits perfectly on there. Time to drill a hole in there. Bloody 9mm, what a mongrel size. Sweet. Slow it down a bit. Alrighty, so I've got that right. It should be in the setter. Alrighty, so how's it? Actually, before I do that, I actually had to rework this because I had it wrong and I didn't allow for this step here. So I had to set it all back up and rework it. Just allow me to put a little bit of a chamfer on the top there. Bring that out here a bit further. Alrighty. Fits bloody perfect. I've got to clean all this thing up yet, but fits on there absolutely like a finger up bum. There you go, look at that. Beautiful. So all I really need to do now is drill a hole through here, put a bolt in it, maybe even a couple of little button heads, one each side, and drill and tap a hole in the side here to screw one of these into there to pick up the oil from the bottom of that hole. And drill and tap a hole in here so that, hang on, I'll move the camera. Right, so it mounts up there like that. And I can get at it from either from this side or if I want to from the bedroom side. The fittings coming out here, going over to feed the oil to it. Alrighty, so by right, I have no more milling to do. After giving this some long and careful consideration, thought of attacking this with the grinder. Wasn't doing much for me. So I've decided to make a preemptive strike and mill it off now while I still can. Because it won't matter if it's, you know, wasn't going to rub on it. It's just as long as it doesn't rub on the back, in the back of the tower. I've wrapped all of the shaft in some cling wrap to keep all the crap off it. So let's do this. It just took nearly 1.5 mils, 1.45 off that, and when I measured the gap in the back to those bits I need to cut out, I was shy a millimetre, so hopefully that 1.45 will solve that problem. Now if you're looking at that going, oh, you just fill that hole full of shit, it's actually a little plug or something there in the bottom of it. This the way it was machined is a bit on the hard side. But anyway, machined it off alright, so that's that taken care of. So now I can strip this damn thing down and do something about getting all this fitted up and working out what I need to do with this. Alrighty, so while you guys weren't looking this morning, I've knocked all this thing down. This is the bolt that connects the lead screw to this plate. So I'll get that undone, knock these stuff off the top, and then I'll get around the back and undo the nut on the coupling down the bottom, and we'll get that bloody lead screw out. Actually, there is something I haven't done yet. I haven't cut those two bits out of the back, so I might get in and do that before I undo all those other bits. While I think of it, I've finally decided what I'm going to do with this bloody thing that I bought when I was building the rotary table. This is what I had over the back as my counterweight, and I've often wished the hell I had this piece of 16 mil or 5/8 plate available for me to use. This bit here is kind of a bit bloody useless, full of holes. So I'll knock off the big flat plate there, or the big bit without holes in it, off and use this instead. Well, this isn't going as smoothly as I would have liked. I'm going to have to machine this because the 10 mil section doesn't go down far enough. So I'm going to have to turn that down. And hang on a sec, I'll move this camera. No issues here, thank Christ, but I've got another problem down here further. The end of the shaft here is only 10 mil and that bloody coupling there is 12 millimeters. So I'm going to have to sleeve the end of it so it'll fit that coupling. But anyway, I'll get that out of there. It's a total pain in the ass to get it in and out. Regardless of whether this would have passed down behind those two braces I had on there, I would have to cut them out anyway, because the only way I could get the lead screw out, the old one out, was to screw the whole lead screw out of the nut completely up through the top. And because I don't have the plug for this, I couldn't do that. So I had to like feed it up through the hole and drop it back down in there. It was a hassle. It was actually a pain in the ass getting that in there. But anyway, so then I'll have to get it out of there and set it up in the lathe and turn one end down and make a sleeve for the other. There's a thrust bearing to sit in here, and then that other thing has to come all the way down into there. Well, that's undersized already there. That's about what the rest of it is. Rightio, that's that end done. We've got no burr on there. You're wondering what I did with the bearing. What I did was I passed it up in there, tightened up the chuck, and then screwed it up hard against the back, and then wrapped a cable tie around there so it couldn't come undone. Alright, that's that end of it done. We'll get a bushmate to the other end. Well, that didn't quite go as planned. I even reamed the damn thing with a 10mm reamer, and it was still fitted on there like a cock on a sock. So in the end I had to weld it on. I did make it a little bit longer so it had a cavity that I could weld into. So that's 12mm now. So we'll get on with seeing how it fits up and marking that aluminium bearing holder. And from what I could see, there's not much to come off it. Alrighty, how I arrived at this point here was I fitted it back in and lowered the head base down until it sat on top of this, and then just scribed the line on it. It's pretty much it. Might take another point 0.1 maybe. Rightio, now do something about rounding those corners off a bit, find myself a finish point. Should set 0 there so I don't crash into this. Call that 0 right there. Obviously didn't have it dead centre. That one is, actually that's the one I want to take the most off anyway. Alright, I think that might do that. I'll get rid of this tailstock, clean that tit off the end. Right, now I've got to fit the damn thing up again and then take it back out and mark where I have to drill and tap the hole to bolt it on with. Pull it out again, drill and tap it, put it back, and then we can start reassembling it if it all seems to work okay. At this point in the video, I'd like to thank my patrons for the continued support. It's greatly appreciated. If you'd like to become a patron, there's a link down in the description. You can sign up down there and toss me a couple of dollars every month. If you don't want to become a patron, there's always Buy Me a Coffee, and there's a QR code on the screen there. You can scan that, or there's always that thanks button down there. Alrighty, things haven't been going quite as smoothly as I would have hoped, but a couple little hiccups along the way, one of which will be the subject of next week's video. I thought it worthy of making a little short video just about that. But now I've got it all back fitted up in there. I do have a tiny little bit of play, as you can see here. And the thing runs up and down. Mind you, there's no weight on it, but there's no counterweight either. and I'm pretty happy with that. So I'll get on and put everything back together. I won't bother videoing that because we're at around 20 minutes already, and then I'll show you once I've got it all set up. Now just before I forget, I weighed those counterweights this morning. They weigh 9.8 kilograms, so it'll be interesting to see what it weighs when I knock that big plate off and place it with that 5 kilo weight, which on my digital bathroom scales weighs exactly 5 kilograms. Alrighty, just a quickie on with regard to this oiler I made up. Made this little bracket here and make sure that this can't stick out and rub on the weight cable all the time, so that holds it over there. And parked at the top, this ends up about probably 30 to 40 millimeters, so you know, around 1.25 to inch and a half kind of thing, above the outlet in the reservoir. I notice it's already dropped about this much, so I've got to make sure I keep it up there, otherwise it'll drain itself out in a real hurry. If it gets too bad, I might end up having to make up another little restrictor or something and put it inside the tube. But anyway, that's that covered. Well, swapping out that big flat plate for the 5 kilo bar weight didn't make much difference. It went from 9.8 kilos to 10.1 kilos. But this ball screw has made it so much easier to wind this up and down. I have lost about 6 mm travel on the way up. I wasn't thinking about that when I did it. I was actually looking more at the downward travel, but it doesn't matter, I suppose. Anyway, let's go over here and have a look at this thing. Alrighty, so just before I wrap this up, I'm going to have to make a little needle valve or something for this tube here. I mean, it was something we used to make back in my repetition machine shop days. We made needle valves because it emptied that thing in no time flat. There's a big puddle of oil on the floor. So then I got out this little clamp and tried to squeeze the hose, and he put that much oil in it, and that all drained out as well. So it's now all over the bloody floor as well. So a little needle valve it'll have to be, I think. Alright, I'll move down here and we'll have a little talk, a little look at what's going on down here. Alrighty, so it took me a fair bit of time to tram all this in again. Quite a few passes across here to get the nod of, well, this way, whatever that's called, tilt or whatever it is. But I've got it all spot on now, and I'm pretty sure I've got the nod right now. It was out before, and I'm really bloody happy with this. It's a lot easier now for me to make fine adjustments instead. Before it was actually pretty difficult just to go, 1 or 2 hundredths of a millimetre, but it's pretty easy now. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching me do all this, and you may have got something out of it you can find useful for yourself. And if you had, don't forget, give it a great big thumbs up and smash that like button. And all I've got to say now is thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week. Bye bye.